Okay, great.
Here's what I think.
Okay.
Deal with me for a moment, conspiracy theory style.
Okay.
All right, here's what we know.
Insert voiceover.
Yes. Cue
montage.
Yes. Okay. God damn it. From what we've heard.
Commit.
God damn it. Okay, I'm trying to piece everything together here. Okay. So, Vestaragna. Vestaragna is sending us off to Aor. We know that she is in search of these divine artifacts. When I researched at the Cobalt Reserve if they had any artifacts from Aor, they said no, that they had none in possession, that they all belonged to the Cerberus Assembly. They had all of them. They also confirmed that there has been trades of these artifacts coming from the north in recent times. So, we have Mollymuck, who is a part of the Tomb Takers. And from what we know of the Tomb Takers, and what I just researched from the Cobalt Reserve, is that they were also doing things like thieving, bodyguard missions, excavating, exactly what Vestaragna just hired us to do for her. And they were being sent to places like Malismar and Schottengrad, all pre-Calamity cities with pre-Calamity artifacts. We then learned that Kree confirmed that Lucian and the Tomb Takers were running from a spellslinger from the capital, chasing after this book. So there was some sort of book involved in this. What is happening?
I'm sure Charlie Day with this.
What is? Yeah. Yes.
We were all thinking.
I have all of my. I have all of my books out. Okay.
So
what about this alignment?
the Tomb Takers took the book from Vess.
Yes. So, I think that the Spellslinger from the capital that they were running from was definitely Vestaragna, who had something to do with this book and this ritual. So, Molly was also a part of some sort of order before the Tomb Takers, and Molly was kind of like the leader, right? And branched off and was like, fuck this other unnamed order. Let's go and be the Tomb Takers. And then when we saw Kree, and Kree was rambling about the ritual, Kree was like, oh, you were doing all these things and you were so great. Remember, Kree was like, oh, Molly, oh, like he was a fucking cult leader, because he was definitely a cult leader. And mentioned that when he volunteered for the ritual and things went haywire, that they were instructed to run. So, I think the Tomb Takers, who worked out of Shady Creek Run, which isn't far from Schottengrad. Schottengrad? Schottengrad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of not far. I think they were a previous mercenary group hired by Vestaragna to do some sort of excavation mission, either in Malismar or Schottengrad. They got looped into whatever crazy shit that Vestaragna wants to figure out with this pre-calamity weaponry that destroys divinity. And he was the person for the ritual. What I think the ritual was for. Bear with me for a second.
This is so Clue movie. Go for it.
Oh yeah.
1 + 1 + 2 + 1.
I want to see Gene Wilder do this so badly.
Okay.
Who are you, Perry Mason?
She ran in here.
Because, hang on, wait, where's my, this is,
Turned off the lights.
let me get this out of the way. So they stole a book, they were running from it, they thought they thought he was gonna come back. So, what if they thought they were teleporting Molly to Aor, and they were assuming that Aor was still in this dimension? But what if Aor isn't in this dimension?
Whoa.
Like we talked about before, because the Cobalt Soul said that there are no reported survivors from Aor. Also, in all of the language that Vestaragna and the Cobalt Soul used, they mentioned that we're heading to an excavation site that they believe Aor is located. but no confirmation that there is Aor there. So what if it's not there? And also there are no reported survivors. So they think that Aor is here, but also no reported survivors. So what if it's not here anymore and it's the city in the abyss?
What if the city is the weapon? The city devours divinity.
That could be it. And what if... Hang on, I'm almost done.
A question.
What if Molly was instead of teleported to Aor, was teleported to this insane, was torpedoed to this city in the abyss, and then because when he came out of the grave, he had 9 tattoo eyes. 9 eyes, 9 tattoos
on his body.
of eyes.
Right.
On his body. And then he didn't remember anything, and then everything went shitty, and then he didn't want to know anything about his past
And
life.
he was empty.
I definitely think you've got it surrounded. A question.
Yes.
You've
I'm
talked
sweating
about.
now.
You have talked it. You're like the gentleman.
well-
Acts from pre-calamity times have been coming south and into possession of
Correct.
the assembly.
Okay.
Those would have come from Aor.
Not necessarily, because there's also Schottengrad and
They were coming down from the north.
What if,
and Malismar. But there's lots of other pre-calamity city sites that it could have potentially come from.
Well, also some aren't pre-calamity, like Malayasmere, which is the elven city that essentially corrupted the entire Savalier Wood with its destruction, and a lot of the Shady Creek Run does its business. Just to clarify, pulling relics and selling relics from the ruins of Malayasmere. And there are many locations pre-calamity all around Wild Mountain, the world beyond that, are excavated from.
Yeah.
Well, what I also learned in the Cobalt Soul.
you're going hypoxic?
Breathe.
Big breath.
Breathe.
Hang on.
We are here for it. We're here for it. Breathe.
Is that the Tomb Takers existed for roughly 4 to 5 years. And this whole ritual incident happened 2 years ago, roughly. That puts us right at that 7 to 8 year mark of when all of this excavation shit started fucking happening and people started digging things up.
4 to 5 years. 4 plus 5 is 9, but 2 years minus 2 is the 7 members of our group.
You take those eyes, or the
We
9.
are Aor.
Aor was the friends we made along the way.
I like it.
Huge.
It's a breakthrough.
That's a breakthrough.
So what happened next?
We should go talk
Well,
to
I think
We tried to
that's
confirm
Vestaragna. I think the people who know the most about all of this is Vestaragna. I think she has been throwing mercenaries at these excavation sites for years, like a fucking meat mill,
And we're next.
and we're next.
Yes, but
So excited.
rather than walk in and be the next group of adventurers that she used to throw spaghetti at the wall,
100%, yeah.
why don't we go ask Mollymock or Nonagon or Lucian or whoever the hell he is what we're walking into before we walk into it?
Well, because what if when Lucian was doing the ritual and his soul was taken by the city, the soul is gone now, and then Molly took his place. So if we brought him back from the dead, we wouldn't be getting Lucian. We would be getting Molly. We didn't know anything.
Maybe it won't work,
Anything to ask.
but maybe it will.
We don't know which Molly we're gonna get.
Let's go ask him, and then we'll know real quick.
Admin.
Do you think that Aor is that city that we saw in the